If she does this, she's not avoiding you. She's scared of falling for you. Female psychology. Psychology tricks. Welcome to our channel, Stoicism Win, where you find interesting and useful wisdom from the Stoic philosophers to help guide you toward a happy, meaningful, and honorable life. As the Stoic thinker Seneca wisely reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. And that truth matters deeply in love, because not every silence is rejection, and not every distance means the door is closed. Sometimes a woman shows real interest, then suddenly goes quiet, and most men immediately assume the worst. They think it means she is no longer interested. They think the connection is over. But what if that very assumption is the reason so many promising connections fall apart before they ever have the chance to grow? Because sometimes, when a woman pulls away, it is not because she feels nothing. It is because she feels something real, and that reality unsettles her more than indifference ever could. That is the part many men fail to understand. When emotions begin to deepen, fear often rises with them. The moment things stop feeling casual and start feeling meaningful, some people do not move closer. They retreat. Not because they do not care, but because caring suddenly feels risky. And here is the hard truth most men need to hear. If you respond the way most men do, by over-explaining, constantly reassuring, or chasing for answers, you do not calm the situation. You make it heavier. You do not remove her fear. You often confirm it. There is a psychological shift here that many men misread completely. They confuse emotional retreat with rejection, when in reality, the two are not always the same. Once you learn to recognize that difference, you begin to see clearly. You stop panicking, you stop sabotaging yourself, and you start responding with the kind of calm, strength, patience, and self-respect that keeps a real connection alive instead of pushing it away. 1. The panic behind unexpected feelings. Here is what most men never stop to consider. When a woman begins to feel something real, something deep and unexpected, her first reaction is not joy, it is panic. That is the hidden layer of female psychology that many overlook. It is not about you doing something wrong. It is about what those feelings represent. Emotional closeness, to her, can feel like standing at the edge of something powerful and uncontrollable. Not because she is falling yet, but because she knows she could. That is what makes it intense. That is what makes it frightening. And if she has ever learned, through experience, that closeness leads to pain, then her instinct is not to move closer, but to protect herself. You must understand this clearly. When she pulls back, it is not a strategy. It is not a game. It is a response to internal pressure. And here is where most men fail. Don't try to fix it. Don't rush in with explanations, reassurance, or emotional speeches. You think you are helping. You think clarity will calm things down. But in reality, you are accelerating the very thing she fears, loss of control. That is why these psychology tricks matter. Not manipulation, but awareness. Because when you push for answers, when you chase for certainty, you are not creating safety. You are creating pressure. Be honest with yourself. The last time she went quiet, you reached out not because it was necessary, but because the silence made you uneasy. That is human, but that is also where things shift. You were trying to escape your discomfort, not support her process. And she feels that, subtly but deeply. This is how to fall in love the right way, by not forcing it, by allowing space where fear can breathe without being chased away. Modern women are taught to be independent, to rely on themselves, to never lose control of their lives. That strength is real. But it comes with a quiet conflict. When real feelings appear, they challenge that independence. She begins to question herself. If I let this grow, will I lose who I am? If I care this much, will I become vulnerable in a way I can't handle? This is the tension of female psychology. The stronger she appears, the more carefully she protects her emotional world. And here is the truth most men miss. The woman who seems hardest to reach is often the one who feels the deepest. She is not distant because she lacks interest. She is distant because the interest is real, and real feelings carry weight. Think about your own life. Have you ever stepped back from something you truly wanted because it felt too important, too risky? Then you already understand her. That is not weakness. That is awareness of what is at stake. So don't misread her distance. Don't label it as rejection. That is where men lose their ground. Instead, recognize it for what it is, a moment of emotional self protection. And here is the irony: the connections that trigger this kind of response are rarely casual. They are not shallow. They are not forgettable. They are the ones that matter. So if she pulls back, don't chase. Don't retreat either. Stay grounded. Stay consistent. Be the man who does not react out of fear. Because how to fall in love is not about intensity, it is about stability. And when you master that, you stop pushing people away and start becoming someone they feel safe coming back to. 2. Hidden emotional tests you didn't notice. Hidden emotional tests. They are quiet, subtle, and often invisible to the untrained eye, yet they shape the direction of almost every connection you have ever experienced. And here is the truth that may shift your entire perspective. She has likely tested you more than once, maybe even several times, without ever announcing that a test was taking place. Not because she is calculating or trying to manipulate you, but because human nature, especially in matters of attraction and emotional safety, works beneath the surface. These tests are not planned like a strategy meeting. They arise instinctively, almost like a reflex, designed to answer one core question: is this man safe for me to open up to? That is what you must understand. This is not about tricks. This is about emotional security. Now, look closely at how these tests actually appear in real life. They are rarely dramatic. They are simple, almost casual moments that carry deeper meaning. She goes cold for a day or two, not replying the way she did before. Don't panic, be still. That is your moment. She mentions another man in conversation, perhaps lightly, perhaps playfully. Don't react emotionally, be grounded. She cancels a plan at the last minute. Don't take it personally, move forward with your life. She opens up, shares something vulnerable, then quietly observes how you respond. Don't rush to fix it, be present. These moments may seem small, but they are powerful signals, and how you respond defines everything that follows. Here is where most men lose their footing, not because they lack value, but because they misunderstand the situation. When she pulls back, they lean in too hard. When she creates space, they try to close it immediately. When uncertainty appears, they attempt to control it. Don't do that. That is the exact reaction that works against you. A high value man does not chase emotional fluctuations. He observes them, he understands them, he remains centered in his own frame. That is masculine energy in its pure form: calm, steady, and unshaken by temporary changes. Think about this clearly. When she went cold and you started texting more, asking questions, seeking reassurance, what did that communicate? Not love, not strength. It communicated that her behavior controlled your emotional state. When she mentioned another guy and you became visibly uncomfortable or overcompensated by pretending not to care, what did that show? Not confidence. It showed that your sense of stability depended on her validation. When she canceled plans and you reacted as if it was a personal rejection, what did that reveal? It revealed that you placed her actions above your own sense of direction. Do not misunderstand this message. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about awareness. You did what most men do because no one taught you to see these patterns. And once you see them, everything changes. Because here is the deeper truth behind all of this. She is not testing whether you like her. She already knows that. Attraction is rarely hidden. What she is truly exploring is whether you can handle emotional uncertainty without collapsing into it. Can you remain calm when things feel unclear? Can you stay consistent when her behavior is inconsistent? Can you show interest without becoming dependent on the outcome? That is the real test. And this is where you must shift your mindset. Don't try to pass the test by acting differently on the surface. Be different at the core. A high value man does not perform confidence, he lives from it. He does not pretend to be unaffected, he is naturally centered. He does not chase approval. He attracts women by being rooted in his own life, his own purpose, his own direction. So, what does that look like in practice? It looks like this. When she pulls away, you don't rush in. You continue your day. You focus on your work, your goals, your routines. That is masculine energy, focused, disciplined, self directed. When she mentions another man, you don't compete, you don't react. You understand that attraction grows in an environment of emotional stability, not emotional competition. When she cancels plans, you don't sit there wondering what it means. You already have a life in motion. You simply move forward. This is the paradox many men struggle to accept. The less you try to control the situation, the more attractive you become. Because control signals fear, and calm signals strength. Now let's go deeper. One of the most overlooked tests is when she shares something vulnerable. This is not just a moment of connection, it is a moment of evaluation. She is asking, without saying it directly, can this man hold emotional space, or will he react in a way that makes me feel unsafe? Don't rush to solve her problems. Don't minimize her feelings. Don't turn it into a lecture. Be present. Listen. Let her feel heard. That is strength. That is what allows a woman to relax emotionally around you. And here is something you must hold on to. These tests never truly stop. Not in a negative way, but in a natural human way. Attraction is not a one-time event. It is something that is maintained through consistency, through how you show up day after day, through how you handle pressure, uncertainty, and change. So don't aim to win once. Aim to become the kind of man who doesn't need to win because he already stands on solid ground. Now, pause for a moment and reflect on your past interactions, not with regret, but with clarity. Think about the times you felt confused, the times you overanalyzed, the times you tried to fix something that didn't need fixing. Those were not failures. They were lessons. And now you see them differently. Now you understand the pattern. And with that understanding comes power. Because from this point forward, you move differently. You don't chase. You attract women by being grounded in who you are. You don't react impulsively. You respond with intention. You don't lose yourself in emotional highs and lows. You stay steady. That is what separates a man who struggles from a man who leads his life with quiet confidence. So remember this clearly. Don't panic when things shift. Don't overreact when things feel uncertain. Don't make everything about you. Be calm. Be focused. Be consistent. That is how you pass tests without even trying to pass them. And more importantly, that is how you become the man who doesn't just seek connection, but creates it naturally, effortlessly, and with strength that speaks louder than words. Now you see it clearly. It was never about her pulling away. It was about who you become when she does. So here's your line. Own it, live it. Drop this in the comments right now. I stay called, I stay grounded, I don't chase, I attract. If that hits you, don't scroll past it. Like the video, subscribe for more real, no-nonsense wisdom, and remember this: a man who is steady in chaos is a man impossible to ignore. 3. The hot and cold pattern is not random. The hot and cold pattern is not random, and the moment you truly understand this, your entire perspective shifts from confusion to control. One day, she is fully engaged, replying instantly, laughing, opening up, creating a connection that feels real and effortless. Then suddenly, the next day, she pulls back. Her responses are short, delayed, distant, and your instinct is to label it as rejection, to assume you did something wrong, to question your value. But stop right there, because that reaction is exactly what keeps you stuck. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is where old Stoic wisdom begins to separate the reactive man from the grounded one, the confused man from the one with an iron mind. You must understand this clearly. Her behavior is not random, it is proportional. The closer she feels, the more intense the pullback can become, because emotional closeness does not just create attraction, it also triggers fear, and fear triggers retreat. That is human nature, not manipulation, not rejection, but protection. If she truly had no interest, there would be no warmth to begin with, no deep conversation, no emotional investment, just consistent indifference. But this fluctuation, this back and forth, this emotional contrast, that is internal conflict unfolding in real time. Part of her wants to move closer, to explore the connection, to feel something real. Another part wants to stay safe, to avoid vulnerability, to protect herself from uncertainty. And often, at least temporarily, that protective instinct wins. Now, here is where most men lose their power. They react instead of observe. They chase instead of center themselves. They try to fix instead of understand. In doing so, they amplify the very dynamic that pushes her further away. Modern life has conditioned you to expect instant clarity, instant replies, instant validation. But human emotions do not operate on a predictable schedule. They move in waves. And if you cannot stay steady when the wave pulls back, you will never ride it when it moves forward. This is why Stoicism, is not just philosophy, it is strategy, it is discipline, it is the ability to remain grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. Pay attention to the pattern, not just the moment. Notice when she pulls away. Is it after a deep conversation? After she shared something personal? After the connection felt stronger than usual? If the answer is yes, then you are not losing her. You are witnessing her process her own emotions, and that requires patience, not pressure. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. What is in your power here is your response, your composure, your ability to not take things personally. You must stop asking, what did I do wrong? And start asking, what is actually happening here? Because those are two very different mindsets. One leads to insecurity, the other leads to clarity. Do not chase when she pulls back. Do not flood her with messages trying to regain control. Do not explain yourself into exhaustion. That is not strength. That is emotional dependence disguised as effort. Instead, be steady, be calm, be grounded. Let her come back to the connection without pressure, because attraction grows in space, not in pursuit. This is where your iron mind is forged, not when things are easy, but when things are uncertain. When you feel the urge to react, but choose discipline instead. When you feel the urge to chase, but choose self-respect instead. Repetition builds mastery. So hear this again. It is not random. It is proportional. It is not rejection. It is protection. It is not about you. It is about her internal balance between desire and fear. And when you truly internalize this, something powerful happens. You stop overanalyzing every message. You stop attaching your self-worth to her responses. You stop playing a game you were never meant to play, and you start leading with calm confidence. In today's world, where relationships are often rushed, misunderstood, and driven by insecurity, the man who understands emotional dynamics without reacting impulsively stands out immediately, not by force, not by control, but by presence. You become the one who does not panic, the one who does not chase, the one who does not lose himself in uncertainty. And that energy is rare. That energy is respected. That energy attracts. Stoicism win is about mastering this exact moment, the moment where most men fail, the moment where emotions rise and clarity fades, and choosing to remain centered anyway. So the next time she goes cold after being warm, do not collapse into doubt. Do not rush to fix what is not broken. Do not take it personally. Observe the pattern, trust the process, and hold your ground, because that is how you win, not just in attraction, but in life. As Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And bravery here is not loud, it is not aggressive. It is quiet, controlled, disciplined. It is the ability to remain yourself when everything tempts you to react. Build that iron mind. Apply old Stoic wisdom daily, and you will see clearly what once confused you. You will stay calm where others panic, and you will move through relationships with a level of clarity and strength that most never reach. 4. She is watching even when she acts distant. She is watching, even when she acts distant. And if you miss this, you will misread the entire situation. That is the mistake most men make when they don't understand female psychology or the deeper psychology tricks behind attraction and emotional protection. You see the delayed replies, the short answers, the polite distance, and you assume disinterest. Don't jump to that conclusion, because real disinterest looks very different. It looks like absence, like silence without curiosity, like a complete lack of awareness about your life. But this woman, she is aware, she is observant, she is quietly paying attention in ways that reveal far more than her words ever will. She takes hours to respond, yet she watches your stories almost instantly. That is not coincidence. That is selective engagement. That is emotional caution wrapped in curiosity. She keeps space in conversation, yet her eyes find you when you are not looking. That is not random. That is subconscious pull. She says she is busy, yet she recalls details from weeks ago, small things you said in passing. That is not politeness, that is investment. You must understand this clearly. People do not remember what does not matter to them. When someone stores your words, replays your tone, notices your patterns, they are emotionally involved, whether they admit it or not. This is where most men fail the test without even realizing there was a test, because they react instead of understanding the psychology tricks at play. They chase, they question, they seek reassurance. Don't do that. Be calm, be grounded. Be the man who sees without needing confirmation. Because what you are witnessing is not avoidance, it is internal conflict. It is the tension between desire and fear. And this is a core principle in female psychology when it comes to how to fall in love. When emotions start to feel real, when connection deepens beyond surface level, it triggers vulnerability, and vulnerability creates hesitation. She is not pulling away because she feels nothing. She is pulling away because she feels something that has the power to affect her. That is the paradox you must learn to recognize. A woman who does not care will not monitor your life. She will not notice your habits. She will not analyze your behavior. She simply moves on. But a woman who is afraid of falling, she becomes hyper aware. She notices when you change your routine. She notices who you spend time with. She notices your energy, your mood shifts, your absences. She may not say a word, but she is observing everything. And here is the truth she may not even admit to herself. Noticing means caring, and caring means risk. That is why she creates distance, not to disconnect, but to protect. Think about your own experience. The last time you truly liked someone, you paid attention in ways that surprised you. You checked their updates, you remembered small things, even when you told yourself not to get too involved. That is exactly what is happening here, except she is resisting it more intensely. This is why understanding psychology tricks and female psychology is not about manipulation. It is about awareness. It is about seeing what is unspoken and responding with strength instead of insecurity. So, what should you do? Don't confront her with it. Don't call it out. Don't demand clarity. That will only push her further into defense mode. Instead, communicate without words. Live fully. Be active. Be engaged in your own life. Share moments that reflect growth, passion, purpose, not to impress her, not to provoke a reaction, but because that is who you are becoming. That is the man who naturally attracts attention, the man who understands how to fall in love without losing himself, the man who creates space for connection without forcing it. When she sees you thriving, when she sees consistency, when she sees that your world does not revolve around her reactions, it does something powerful. It reduces her fear. Because now, liking you does not feel like losing control. It feels like stepping into something real. And that is what she is testing, even if she doesn't consciously know it. She is asking, if I let myself feel this, will I be safe emotionally? Your job is not to answer that with words. Your job is to embody the answer through your behavior. Stay steady. Stay composed. Don't overanalyze every message delay. Don't let your emotions spike based on her inconsistency. That is where many men lose their position. They become reactive. They become uncertain. And uncertainty is not attractive. Be the opposite. Be clarity. Be calm. Be someone who understands that attraction grows in space, not pressure. And remember this, even if she never comments, even if she never openly acknowledges it, she is watching. She is observing how you live, how you respond, how you carry yourself. Every action you take is communication. Every moment you remain grounded is reassurance. This is the deeper layer of psychology tricks and female psychology that most overlook. Attraction is not built through constant interaction. It is built through perception, through presence, through emotional stability. So don't chase visibility. Create value. Don't seek attention. Build a life that naturally draws it. Because when a woman is quietly watching, she is already more invested than she appears. And if you handle that moment with patience and strength, you don't just keep her interest, you create the conditions for something deeper, something real, something that moves beyond surface attraction into genuine connection, the kind that defines how to fall in love in a way that is balanced, mutual, and lasting. If this hit you, don't just sit on it, act on it. Understand the signal. Stay calm, stay grounded. Don't chase, rise. Because when she watches in silence, that's not distance, that's attention without courage. So here's your move. Step into your life fully, grow quietly, and let your actions speak louder than your words. And if you truly understand this dynamic, drop this in the comments right now. She's not distant, she's watching, and I stay focused. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp insights, and remember, the man who lives well never needs to chase attention. He naturally becomes it. 5. Her friends reveal the truth. Her friends will often tell you the truth she is not ready to say out loud. And if you are paying attention, this is where the illusion breaks and clarity begins. Because attraction does not exist in isolation. It leaks. It shows up in conversations, in laughter shared behind closed doors, in the quiet way her name comes up when you are not even in the room. And that is exactly why this sign matters more than most men realize. You are not just dealing with her actions, you are witnessing the ripple effect of her emotions through the people closest to her. Think about it. Her friends act strange around you. Not cold, not dismissive, just different. They exchange looks when you walk in. They smile in a way that feels like they know something you do not. They seem confused when she pulls away from you, almost like her behavior does not match the version of the story they have been hearing. That is not random. That is contrast. And contrast reveals truth. You must understand this. People who hear nothing show nothing, but people who have heard everything, they react. And then it gets even clearer. One of them pulls you aside. Casual tone, but intentional words. She talks about you, you know? Or you should text her. Or even, don't give up on her. That is not small talk. That is not politeness. That is a window into what is happening behind the scenes. Because women do not bring up men they do not care about in conversations with their inner circle. They simply do not. There is no emotional investment there, no curiosity, no analysis, nothing to discuss. Silence means indifference, but discussion, that means interest. That means you have entered her mental and emotional space. Do not ignore this. Most men do. They overanalyze her silence, her distance, her mixed signals. They look at what is missing instead of what is being revealed indirectly. That is the mistake. Don't chase what is unclear. Observe what is consistent. Her friends are consistent. Their behavior is not emotional chaos, it is information. And a high value man knows how to read information without reacting emotionally. Because here is the deeper truth. If her friends are invested in you, it is because she has been talking about you a lot. Not just your name, not just surface level details. They know the tone of your conversations. They know how you made her laugh. They know the little things you said that stayed with her longer than she expected. They know the moments that replay in her mind when she is alone. That is how women process attraction. They relive it, they share it, they dissect it. And her friends become witnesses to that process. But it does not stop there. They also know her fears, her hesitation, her internal conflict. They know when she says, I don't know what I'm feeling, or it's moving too fast, or what if this doesn't work? You see confidence on the surface. They see vulnerability underneath. You see distance. They hear confusion. And that is why their behavior toward you feels so layered, because they are holding both sides of her story at the same time. That is where most men lose their grounding. They take her distance personally, they assume rejection, they start chasing clarity, over explaining themselves, trying to fix something that was never broken. Don't do that. Be still. Be observant. That is masculine energy. That is how you attract women without forcing anything. Because when you react emotionally, you disrupt the natural flow. But when you remain steady, you allow the truth to reveal itself fully. Now pay attention to this next level, because this is where it becomes undeniable. Her friends start creating opportunities, subtle at first, group settings where you are both invited, moments where they conveniently leave the two of you alone, situations that feel almost arranged. That is not coincidence. That is coordination. That is intention moving through action. You must understand what that means. They are rooting for you, not casually, not passively, actively. They are trying to help her move past her own hesitation. They see something in you that aligns with what she needs, even if she is not ready to admit it. And people do not invest energy like that unless they believe in the outcome. That is human nature. We support what we see value in. We create space for what we believe could work. So ask yourself this: why would her inner circle, her protective circle, be opening doors for you if there was nothing there? They would not. They do not waste time. They do not entertain possibilities that hold no weight, especially when it comes to someone they care about. Their standard is not random, it is selective. And if you are being included in that space, it means you have already passed a filter you did not even know existed. This is where your mindset must shift. Stop questioning if you are reading too much into it. That doubt is what weakens your presence. That hesitation is what pulls you out of alignment. Instead, trust the pattern, trust the consistency, Trust the signals that come from outside her direct control, because her words can be guarded, her actions can be conflicted, but her environment, that reveals what she cannot hide. A high value man does not need constant reassurance. He reads reality as it is. He understands that attraction is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, indirect, even confusing, but it is still there. And when you combine her subtle signals with the clear behavior of her friends, the picture becomes undeniable. So don't chase, don't panic, don't try to force clarity through pressure. That is not how you attract women. That is how you push them further into hesitation. Instead, hold your ground, stay composed. Be the man who does not get shaken by mixed signals because he understands the deeper dynamics at play. That is masculine energy, calm, observant, certain without being loud about it. And here is the final truth you need to lock in. When her friends are investing in you, they are confirming something she has not yet fully expressed. They are showing you that what you feel is not one-sided, that what you sense is not imagined, that there is something real developing beneath the surface. So don't walk away too early. Don't misread her fear as disinterest, and don't lower your value by reacting impulsively. Be patient, be grounded. Be the man who understands that sometimes the truth is not in what she says, it is in what the people closest to her cannot help but reveal. And if you can hold that frame, if you can stay steady in that awareness, you will naturally position yourself as the kind of man who doesn't just attract women, but the kind they feel safe enough to finally stop running from. 6. The right way to respond when she pulls back. The right way to respond when she pulls back is where most men quietly lose the game without even realizing it. And if you want to stand apart, you must understand this with clarity and discipline. When she creates distance, it is not a signal for you to panic, and it is not a signal for you to disappear. It is a moment that tests your emotional stability, your self-worth, and your ability to live by what I call an iron mind. Most men fall into one of two traps. They chase harder, over-explaining, over-texting, trying to prove they are safe, trying to win her back in real time. Or they swing to the other extreme, cutting her off, acting cold, convincing themselves she is not worth it. Both reactions are driven by emotion, not strength. Both reactions communicate instability. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And this is where old Stoic wisdom becomes your advantage. When you chase, you show her that her attention controls your emotional state. When you disappear, you show her that your interest was fragile, conditional, easily shaken. Neither builds trust, neither creates attraction, neither reflects the calm, grounded energy of a man who is centered in his own life. Understand this deeply. Attraction grows in the presence of emotional certainty, not emotional reaction. So what should you do? You match her energy, but not with ego, with awareness. If she pulls back, you step back too. Not as punishment, not as a tactic, but as a natural reflection of your life being full, your time being valuable, your attention being earned, not given away freely. This is Stoicism win in action. You are not reacting to her behavior. You are anchored in your own rhythm. And here is the crucial shift that most men miss. When you pull back, you must pull back to something, not into emptiness. Your life must remain active, meaningful, forward-moving. Work, purpose, growth, health, social life. These are not distractions. They are your foundation. As Seneca taught, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. That means you do not pause your life because someone else becomes uncertain. You continue building. You continue moving. You continue becoming. And from that place, your communication changes completely. You do not send messages seeking reassurance. You do not ask questions that reveal insecurity. Instead, you reach out occasionally with calm, intention, and presence, light, genuine, specific. For example, instead of saying, "Hey, haven't heard from you, is everything okay?" which quietly asks for validation, you say, "Saw something today that reminded me of what you said about that book, made me smile. Hope you're doing well." Short, grounded, no pressure, no neediness. This is the voice of a man who is engaged in life, not waiting on a response to feel complete. And when she senses that, something shifts. Her fear, the very thing that made her pull back, begins to dissolve. Because often when a woman steps back, it is not because she lacks interest, it is because things started to feel real. And real connection carries risk, emotional risk, vulnerability, uncertainty. If you respond with pressure, you amplify that fear. If you respond with absence, you confirm instability. But if you respond with calm consistency, you create safety. You show her, without saying a word, that you are steady, that your interest is real, but your identity is not dependent on her. That is power. That is control. That is the iron mind in motion. And understand this clearly. You are not trying to manipulate her feelings. You are mastering your own. That is the essence of old Stoic wisdom. You cannot control her pace. You cannot control her emotions, but you can control your response, and your response defines everything. As Epictetus said, don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen. Accept the moment. Adapt with strength. Move with intention. In modern life, where communication is instant and expectations are high, this discipline is rare, and that is exactly why it works. Most men react. Few men remain centered. Most men seek reassurance. Few men embody it. So be the man who does not rush. Be the man who does not chase. Be the man who does not withdraw in silence. Be the man who stays grounded, continues forward, and allows space without losing presence. That is Stoicism win. That is how you turn uncertainty into attraction. That is how you build something real, not forced. And most importantly, that is how you master your life regardless of the outcome. If you understand this, then stop chasing, stop disappearing, and start leading your emotions with calm control, because that's what separates a man with purpose from a man seeking validation. You don't react, you respond. You don't beg, you attract. You stay steady while everything else moves. As the great Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that is your edge. If this message hit you, prove it to yourself. Drop this in the comments right now. I match energy, I don't chase it. 7. Emotional depth versus emotional dependency. Here is the truth most men overlook, and it quietly shapes the outcome of their relationships. Attraction is not built on how much you feel, but on how you handle what you feel. This is where many misunderstand the difference between emotional depth and emotional dependency. They sound similar, but they create completely different experiences for a woman. Emotional depth is powerful, it is calm, it is grounded. It is the ability to recognize your feelings, to express them clearly, and to remain steady while doing so. Emotional dependency, on the other hand, is pressure. It is the need for reassurance, the need for constant validation, the need for someone else to stabilize your inner world. One draws her in, the other quietly pushes her away. If you want to truly understand psychology tricks, female psychology, and how to fall in love in a way that creates lasting attraction, you must understand this distinction at a deep level. Now, think about this carefully. When she starts to pull back, when her energy shifts, when her responses slow down, what happens inside you? Do you stay centered, or do you start to feel restless? Do you observe the situation, or do you react to it? That moment reveals everything. Because a man with emotional depth feels the shift, acknowledges it, but does not lose himself in it. He remains present. He remains composed. He does not rush to fix, chase, or control. That is what makes him intriguing. That is what creates emotional safety. But a man operating from dependency immediately seeks relief. He texts more. He over-explains. He tries to pull her back in, not because he values her, but because he needs the feeling she gives him. And that difference, subtle as it seems, is everything in female psychology. Be honest with yourself here. This is not about judgment. This is about awareness. Ask yourself a direct question. Are you reacting because you value the connection or because you are afraid of losing the way she makes you feel about yourself? That is the line between strength and instability. That is the line between attraction and resistance. Many men confuse intensity with connection. They believe that showing more emotion will bring her closer. But that is not how to fall in love works on a deep level. Love grows in space. Love grows in emotional safety. Love grows when both people feel free, not when one person feels responsible for holding the other together. Now, here is where it becomes practical. You must learn how to express yourself without creating pressure. You must learn how to share without seeking rescue. For example, instead of saying, I really like you and I am afraid of losing you, pause, think, adjust. Say, I have been in situations where I moved too fast before, and I understand how that can create pressure. Do you feel the difference? Same honesty, same vulnerability, but completely different energy. The first statement asks her to reassure you. The second shows self-awareness. The first creates responsibility. The second creates connection. This is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you can internalize. Don't rush to be understood. Be clear. Don't seek comfort. Be grounded. Don't hand over your emotional stability. Keep it. That is what allows her to relax around you. Because when a woman senses that you can handle your emotions, she no longer feels the need to manage them for you. That is when attraction deepens. That is when she begins to open up. That is when real connection starts to form. This is the essence of female psychology that many miss. Women are not avoiding men who feel deeply. They are avoiding men who cannot stand on their own emotional ground. And here is the paradox that most men struggle to accept. The moment you stop needing her to feel secure is the moment she begins to feel safe with you. It sounds counterintuitive, but it is true. Security is not created through attachment. It is created through stability. It is created through consistency. It is created through a man who can experience emotion without being controlled by it. That is how to fall in love in a way that builds something real, something lasting, something strong. You must also understand this. Giving her space is not losing her. It is allowing the connection to breathe. It is showing trust. It is showing confidence. When you stay calm while she pulls back, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. You communicate that your world does not collapse without her. You communicate that you choose her, not need her. And that distinction changes everything. So take this seriously. Observe your patterns. Notice your reactions. Refine your responses. This is not about becoming cold or distant. This is about becoming steady. This is about becoming a man who feels deeply but stands firmly. A man who can connect without clinging. A man who understands that attraction grows not from intensity, but from emotional control. These are not just ideas. These are real, practical psychology tricks rooted in understanding female psychology and the deeper mechanics of how to fall in love. And remember this above all, you already have the ability to do this. You are not learning something foreign. You are refining something that already exists within you. Trust yourself. Stay grounded. Let things unfold. That is where real attraction lives. 8. Focus on yourself instead of overanalyzing her. Focus on yourself instead of overanalyzing her. That is where everything changes, and you need to hear this clearly. Every minute you spend decoding her texts, replaying her tone, or questioning her distance is a minute you're stealing from your own growth. Let that sink in. You paused your life, even if you didn't admit it out loud. You waited. You hoped. You tried to read signs like they held the answer to your future. Meanwhile, life kept moving. Opportunities passed quietly. Energy drained slowly. And deep down, you started to feel stuck, not because of her, but because you stepped away from your own path. Don't do that again. Don't be that man who forgets his mission just because emotions entered the room. Be the man who stays grounded. Be the man who continues forward no matter what. Go to the gym, not to impress her, not to make her regret anything. Do it because discipline builds you from the inside out. Physical strength becomes mental clarity. Consistency becomes confidence. That is how a high value man is built, not in moments of comfort, but in moments where he chooses himself again and again. Pursue your goals, not to prove a point, not to win validation. Do it because purpose creates direction, and direction creates power. A man with purpose does not chase attention, he attracts it naturally. That is masculine energy, calm, focused, unshaken. Spend time with people who genuinely value you, not as a strategy, not as a display, but because being around the right people reminds you of who you are. It resets your standards, it strengthens your self respect. And when your self respect is strong, everything else begins to align. Build something. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. A business, a skill, a vision, a better version of yourself. Because a man on a mission carries a different presence. He doesn't need to say much. He doesn't need to convince anyone. You feel it, and women feel it too. That is how you attract women without chasing them. That is how a high value man moves through the world quietly, intentionally, powerfully. And listen, give yourself credit. You have already started this journey in ways you might overlook. Maybe you've been working on your habits. Maybe you've been trying to improve. Maybe you've been holding yourself together when things felt uncertain. That matters. That counts. Recognize it. Respect your own effort. Now, here is where it gets interesting. When you shift your focus back to yourself, everything changes in ways you cannot force. When she sees you moving forward, not waiting, not begging, not breaking under pressure, two things happen naturally. One, she notices the difference. She realizes something has shifted. Two, she begins to feel something unexpected safety. Because a man who is centered in himself is predictable in the best way. He is not reactive, he is not unstable. He does not collapse under emotion. And that kind of man is rare. That kind of man feels safe to trust. Understand this paradox deeply. The more you focused on her, the less attractive you became. The more you focus on yourself, the more attractive you become. Not because you are trying to impress, not because you are playing some game, but because you are embodying stability. And stability is not boring. Don't believe that lie. Stability is what people crave but rarely find. It is steady, it is reliable, it is grounded. And in a world full of uncertainty, that becomes magnetic. That is masculine energy at its highest level. Controlled, not chaotic. Present, not desperate. Strong, not loud. You don't have to react to every shift in her behavior. You don't have to match confusion with confusion. Be clear. Be calm. Be consistent. That is how you stand apart. That is how you attract women without losing yourself in the process. You must also understand something deeper. Her distance is not always rejection. Sometimes it is fear. Fear of losing control, fear of getting hurt, fear of choosing the wrong man again. And when she meets a man who is different, a man who does not chase, who does not crumble, who does not seek validation, it challenges her. It makes her pause. It makes her step back, not because she doesn't feel something, but because she feels more than she expected. And this is where most men fail. They take that step back personally. They panic. They chase harder. or they disappear completely. Don't do either. Stay grounded, stay present, give space without losing your direction. That is strength. That is maturity. Be the man who understands her fear without absorbing it. That is key. You are not responsible for fixing her emotions. You are responsible for managing your own. Be the man who gives her room to process without punishing her for it. But also, don't abandon yourself in the process. Keep building, keep moving, keep growing. That balance is what separates a high-value man from the rest. He does not overinvest too early. He does not withdraw out of ego. He stays steady. And that steadiness builds trust over time. You must remember this. Attraction grows in space, not in pressure. Trust grows in consistency, not in intensity. And respect grows when a man respects himself first. So stop watching her every move. Stop trying to figure out what every silence means. Focus on what you can control: your habits, your mindset, your direction, your standards. That is where your power is. And when you operate from that place, everything changes without force. In the end, this is not about tactics. It is not about strategies. It is about who you are becoming: a man who is centered, a man who is disciplined, a man who does not lose himself in the presence of attraction. That is the man who wins, not just in relationships, but in life. And when fear meets that kind of presence, something powerful happens. Fear turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into comfort, and comfort turns into trust. That is how real connection is built, not through chasing, not through overthinking, but through quiet strength, steady growth, and unshakable self-respect. Hey, it's good to have you here. Listen, here's something you need to carry with you after this video. You cannot force someone to feel safe. You cannot chase fear out of another person's heart. But you can become the kind of man who makes fear fade on its own, not with words, not with pressure, but with consistency, calmness, and self-respect. I know this isn't easy. You've probably been in situations where you gave your best, stayed patient, did everything right, and still didn't get the outcome you wanted. That doesn't mean you lost. It means you're growing. It means you're learning how real connection actually works, not the fantasy version of it. So here's the advice: simple but powerful. Don't lose yourself trying to hold on to someone else. Be interested, yes. Be present, yes. But never become obsessed. Because the moment you cross that line, you're no longer choosing, you're chasing. And when you chase, you give away your power. Stay grounded, stay steady. Be the man who knows his worth, even in uncertainty. That is what creates real attraction. That is what builds something lasting. If this spoke to you, stay with us. There's more coming that will sharpen your mindset and strengthen your approach to relationships. And before you go, drop a comment with the word clarity if this helped you see things differently. I'll see you in the next one.